Chapter 110. The Same Dream. Same condition as the boy? He also likes to visit haunted houses? Dr. Gao had managed to pique Chen Ge's curiosity. Low-spirited with occasional outbursts, prefers to be alone in dark places because it gives him a sense of security. Whether he likes to visit haunted houses or not, I'm not so sure. Dr. Gao moved to the side to reveal the young man behind him. Men Nan, my student. He came to me with his illness about 3 weeks ago. The person behind Dr. Gao was in his 20s, slight of frame, had a tense face, high cheekbones, and dark circles around his eyes. Standing under the sun, tiny droplets of sweat seeped out of his forehead. The young man seemed to be in a tense state, with his head lowered, unable to meet anyone's eyes. Surname Men? Chen Ge tried to make conversation. That's rare. Nice to meet you. The young man's reaction was weird. He kept his head lowered, and his eyes scanned Chen Ge quickly before softly replying, Nice to meet you. After examining the young man for some time, Chen Ge pulled Dr. Gao to the side. But Dr. Gao, why did you bring him here? If you plan to let him visit the haunted house, I'm not responsible if anything happens to him. Men Nan was a cheerful, confident child, one of my brightest students. He is incredibly talented in the field of personality psychology. Personality psychology? One of the branches of psychology. Generally speaking, it is the science of understanding human behavior. Okay. Chen Ge nodded even though he still did not quite get it. His symptoms appeared 3 weeks ago without any warning. There is usually a trigger to psychological illnesses, mostly related to one's family or living environment. However, Men Nan lives alone, and his environment has not undergone any changes recently, so I'm stumped, Dr. Gao whispered, obviously trying to not let Men Nan hear him. After many sessions, his condition has not improved. If anything, it is deteriorating. The young man has always been a patient fellow, but recently, he has been experiencing violent mood swings. He got into a scuffle recently with a classmate simply because the animal patterns on the curtain did not match. And he injured a random stranger simply because the number of sesame seeds on the bun kept changing whenever he counted them. The reasons for his anger sure are unique. Whenever one is under the torment of psychological pressure, even the smallest provocation can lead to an explosion of emotions. Men Nan's actions made me realize he was in deep pain. But why would you bring him to me? Chen Ge looked at Dr. Gao and Men Nan. The special visitor was probably one of them. Wang Xin's illness has improved greatly. Her symptoms that were deteriorating improved after meeting you, Dr. Gao said with a smile. I'm not a stubborn person. No matter the method, as long as it can cure the patient, it is a good method. I am deeply disturbed by the pain he is in, so I wish for you to lend me a hand. Go on then. Chen Ge did not reject Dr. Gao. Can you repeat what you did for Wang Xin on Men Nan? After all, from what we know so far, Men Nan, Wang Xin, and the boy we discussed about before all suffer from the same illness. Chen Ge hesitated after hearing Dr. Gao's words. He did not expect that would be the reason behind the doctor's visit. What he had done for Wang Xin had probably greatly impressed the senior psychologist, and that was why he had come up with this request. However, Chen Ge knew the truth. The only reason Chen Ge could help Wang Xin was because he knew the past from the pen spirit, and the pen spirit herself had come to assist Wang Xin. The method could not be copied. It was specific to the case. Is it going to be a problem for you? Dr. Gao saw the hesitation on Chen Ge's face. If it's too much trouble, then forget I ever ask. After all, I'm just hoping for the best here. This child has immense talent, but if I put him under medication, it will cause great side effects on his body and mind. I'm afraid it will ruin his future. It's difficult, but not impossible. If you want me to help, at least let me know a little bit more about him. Chen Ge did not reject directly. One of them was the special visitor, and every special visitor was a hidden treasure who we must not let go easily. Then I will thank you in advance on behalf of the child. The smile returned to Dr. Gao's face as he called Men Nan over. Men Nan, come and tell us what has been bothering you. The young man kept his head lowered. No matter who he was talking to, his head remained in that posture, like someone was pressing him down on his skull. Noting the young man's silence, Dr. Gao sighed before filling in for him. 3 weeks ago, he suddenly came to see me, saying he suspected that he was suffering from depression. We are professionals ourselves, and after an afternoon of diagnosis, I discovered that his symptoms were different from normal depression. At most, he was feeling overly agitated and tired. At the time, I did not think too much of it, but his situation worsened. He would spend the whole day not saying a single word and get into altercations with the slightest provocation. I analyzed it for a long time before coming to a conclusion that he would not admit. He is afraid, very afraid of something that is hidden inside his heart. I suspect that he is suffering from a fear complex, but when I examine his surroundings, I cannot find anything that could cause fear. After I asked him again and again, he finally admitted the truth. Dr. Gao looked at Men Nan with concern in his eyes. Starting 3 weeks ago, he has been having the same dream every night. The mention of the dream made Men Nan shudder. This was something he was afraid of facing the most. What kind of dream? Chen Ge had imagined many scary scenarios, but Dr. Gao's answer surprised him. He dreamed about washing his hair. Washing his hair. Chen Ge did not know what to say. I'll let him fill you in on the rest. Dr. Gao placed his hand on Men Nan's shoulder and nudged him slightly, probably to make him relax. After a long time, Men Nan opened his lips. It is the same dream every time, and it is becoming clearer and clearer. Soon I'll be able to see the person's face. His voice sounded raw, like his throat had been burned. Who is this person? There's another person in your dream? Yes. He always appears beside me to watch me wash my hair. He looks scary and dangerous, as if the moment I close my eyes, he will rush over to strangle me. Chapter 111. Getting Closer. Chen Ge and Dr. Gao were silent for a long time. Washing the head meant washing away bad luck and dirt. In dream theory, it meant a good thing was about to happen, but what Men Nan described had nothing good about it. It sounded like a nightmare. Can you still remember the face of the person in your dream and your surroundings? Men Nan was most likely the special visitor mentioned by the black phone. Therefore, the choice Chen Ge made could influence the final reward. The dream feels like it happened inside my rental's bathroom. The placement of the things looked familiar, but I am not so sure. Men. Nan pushed down his head, and his voice weakened even more. I haven't been able to get a good look of the person standing beside me, but I am certain he is getting closer to me. These few weeks I have been having the same dream, and with each passing night the dream keeps getting clearer, and I have a clearer view of the man's face. What does he look like? Soon, in the next dream, I will be able to see his face, Men Nan said with his head lowered. When he spoke, only his pupils moved upwards. It looked creepy. What the young man said was very vague. There was no worthwhile information. Chen Ge did not give up and continued to press him. Can you give me more details? For instance, what was the man up to when you were washing your head, or has he said anything? The content of the dream is almost always the same. Men Nan's raw voice was shaking. When I had this dream for the first time 3 weeks ago, it wasn't that scary. In the dream, I woke up in the middle of the night to enter the bathroom. There were no thoughts in my mind then, and my body was merely moving on its own. It felt like some foreign force had taken over me. Initially, the dream was fuzzy. I stopped before the mirror to fill up the basin with water before putting my head into it. When I bent over with my head lowered, I could see someone standing at the front door upside down. At the beginning, he was standing far away from me. It was not until I finished washing my head that I realized he seemed to have moved closer, but only just a little bit. After the dream was over, I had other dreams, so I didn't pay it much attention initially. But the next day, I had the same dream again. Everything was the same. I walked into the bathroom, stood before the mirror, filled the basin with water, and then bent over to put my head into the water. When my hair touched the surface of the water, I could see someone standing in the living room. When I was done, the person once again moved closer to me. The same dream kept repeating. Initially, it felt like every other dream, but as it repeated itself, everything became clearer and clearer. My brain was moving during the dream, and my senses were active, but the key issue was the man who came in from the door inched closer to me with each dream. In my dream, I'm scared out of my wits, but I simply cannot wake up. The moment I fall asleep, the dream continues. In the dream 2.5 weeks ago, the man entered the living room. 1 week ago, the man appeared next to the toilet. In the dream 4 days ago, the man appeared beside me. He was standing beside me. The moment I bent down to push my head into the water, his body would lean alongside me with the fuzzy face inching closer. Chen Ge had chills just from Men Nan's description. He could not imagine the trauma for the young man who had experienced it personally. Having the same dream for 3 weeks with an unclear man inching closer, no wonder he ended up in this state. The night before last, I had the same dream again, and it was also the last time. Men Nan tried to raise his head, and Chen Ge saw that his eyes were darting about rapidly. The man's face was so close that I thought I could take a good look, but at that moment, he used his hands to strangle my neck. Then, I woke up, and I haven't gone back to bed since then. Men Nan's situation was dire. The man in his dream was strangling him. If the dream was allowed to continue, who knew what would have happened? No wonder Dr. Gao came to Chen Ge. He was probably the last resort. Repetitious dream, you say? And they are all in the bathroom. Chen Ge thought about it and said, "Could it be a problem with the apartment itself? I'm just stating a possibility, so don't be afraid." Go on. Is it possible that someone died in the room you rented, and the body hasn't been discovered, so the person appears in your dream, hoping you will call the police on his behalf? When Chen Ge finished, Men Nan's face was green. He took in a very deep breath. There's a body hiding in my room? Impossible. His emotions started to go haywire. If not for Dr. Gao's hands on his shoulders, his illness probably would have kicked in. Dr. Gao added with a curious expression, "I've been to his rental room and examined the place inside out. There is nothing weird about it. Furthermore, 1 week ago, I did invite Men Nan to stay with me. He still experienced the same dream. It did not stop due to a change in location. When he had the dream for the first time, the man was standing at the front door, so the man probably came from the outside. This means that we cannot limit our investigation to Men Nan's room. We should expand the scope of investigation to include the whole apartment building." Chen Ge gave his opinion. Afraid of provoking Men Nan, he did not give the latter part of his suspicion. The ghost had probably attached itself to Men Nan, so it could not be solved by sleeping elsewhere. "We are not police, so we don't have the right to search the rest of the building." Dr. Gao now had second thoughts about coming to Chen Ge. "We should focus on analyzing this dream. Men Nan kept repeating the action of washing his hair. Perhaps we will be able to discover something if we understand what that action stands for." Dr. Gao tried to advise Chen Ge, and Chen Ge did listen to the doctor's explanation patiently, but his speculation could not explain why Men Nan kept having the same dream. "I can't be sure for now, so why don't we see what happens tonight? How about we go to Men Nan's apartment? Perhaps a new pair of eyes might bring some new discoveries." Chen Ge waited patiently for them to answer. He put his hands into his pockets. From the special visitor alert until now, the black phone had not reacted.